Shocking revelation, why I'm suing YouTube today, the truth they never told. Maya's heart raced as she clicked record, the camera light's red glow casting an eerie, flickering shadow across her studio. Today, she breathed, I'm unveiling the truth that YouTube has kept hidden. Her pulse quickened, eyes wide with the weight of secrets spilling over the edge. She spoke through clenched teeth, anxiety wrapping around her chest like a vice. This was it. The moment she had both feared and longed for. The video began with blurred images flashing across the screen, screenshots of strange notifications and shockingly absent views. It was like a visual crime scene. Her subscribers were disappearing one by one without a trace. Maya leaned closer to the camera, lowering her voice to a whisper that drew listeners in. Some people are saying, they're getting unsubscribed without even knowing. Can you believe it? She paced the room, tension coiling around her. Every glitch spoke to a deeper mystery lurking beneath the surface. An algorithm, a hidden agenda, perhaps even conspiracy. Her hands trembled slightly as she gestured, the weight of the unknown pressing down. What could they be hiding? Are they really deciding who gets seen? Who gets heard? As the clock ticked ominously, shadows danced across the walls, making her feel like she was in an episode of a psychological thriller. And just as she reached the peak of her revelation, the door burst open behind her. It was Tyler, her friend and fellow vlogger, a panic-stricken expression etched on his face. Maya, you need to stop, something bigger is happening here. His voice piped in alarm, sending a shiver down her spine. She could feel the walls of her reality beginning to shake. What do you mean? She asked, mouth dry. But before he could answer, a sharp rap came from the screen, notifying her of a comment that sent her heart plummeting. Can the algorithm really control us? Tyler mouthed, his eyes wide with disbelief. The atmosphere thickened, a palpable blend of fear and urgency settling in. There was an undeniable truth that deep down, they both sensed, a revelation was coming, and it carried the weight of something profound, something that could change everything. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Maya and Tyler shared a glance, the air electric with unspoken thoughts. Was it just a glitch, or was there something sinister going on? The room fell silent as they both contemplated the invisible puppeteers tugging at the strings of their fate. What consequences lay ahead as they dared to dig deeper into the shadowy world of YouTube? The screen pixelated, her face frozen in fear and determination, leaving the questions lingering. What was the truth they were destined to uncover? Maya felt the world around her twist as if it was pulling her into a dark abyss. Tyler's face was a mask of fear, his eyes darting nervously between the screen and the door. The notifications kept flooding in, each ping sharper than the last. She could hardly breathe. Tyler, what are you talking about? She urged, desperation leaking into her voice. That he leaned in closer, his face now inches from hers. I've been digging, Maya. This isn't just about your channel, it's bigger. You might be stepping into something dangerous. The reality of his words thudded in her chest. She had felt the strange undercurrents, the sense that YouTube was withholding the truth, and now it seemed to be intertwining her fate with something far darker. Dangerous? She whispered, a lump in her throat threatening to choke her. What do you mean? Before he could answer, the door slammed shut. The sound echoed through the studio, rising like a sinister note in an eerie symphony. They both jumped. Maya stepped back instinctively, heart racing. What the hell was that? She heard herself mutter, glancing around the room. Shadows twisted on the walls, almost as if they were alive, whispering secrets she couldn't decipher. Someone's here, Tyler said, moving toward the door, but she grabbed his arm, holding him back. No. What if it could be someone from YouTube? Her voice trembled as the fear sunk deeper, the tension in the air grew thick enough to cut, a silence so profound it rang in her ears. The only sounds were the muted notifications from her computer. Something about the fluctuations in the comments and views felt alive. Watching, waiting, with brutal resolve, she shifted her focus back to the camera. We have to show them, she declared, adrenaline surging. Every single subscriber deserves to know what's happening. Tyler nodded, reluctantly. Okay, let us just be careful. If you're right, they'll be watching. Maya pressed record again, forcing her mind to focus. If you're watching this, she said, her voice steadier, there's a chance you're caught in the same web. YouTube isn't just a platform anymore, it's a controlling force, a powerful puppet master pulling the strings of our creativity, our voices. For every second that ticked by, she felt the weight of unseen eyes, an audience lurking. She burst out more claims, laying bare the darkened corners of the platform without understanding the true consequences. As the video continued, ominous cracks of thunder rumbled outside, a storm brewing both in the skies and within her revelations. The lights flickered. In that moment, she felt a presence, a shift in the atmosphere behind her. Turning slowly, she was greeted by an unexpected sight. A figure stood in the doorway, cloaked in shadows, face obscured. Maya's throat went dry as her mind raced. Who were they? A messenger? A threat? Stop, the figure commanded, their voice low and strikingly familiar, sending chills down her spine. Before she could react, Tyler instinctively moved to shield her, but the figure held up a hand, stopping him in his tracks. You don't understand what you're meddling with. You need to listen. Maya stared at the stranger, heart pounding wildly against her ribcage. Was this the moment she had been waiting for, or had they unwittingly walked into a trap? The sense of intrigue and danger simultaneously twisted inside her. As the figure began to speak, her thoughts whirled, setting the stage for a revelation she never saw coming. What truths could unravel, and at what price? An unsettling silence fell, wrapping around them. What was this stranger ready to reveal about the world they thought they knew? The figure took a step forward, their presence boiling with tension as the shadows danced around them. Maya could hardly breathe beneath the weight of anticipation. Her mind raced with possibilities. What did this person know? Why were they here? You have to understand, the figure said, voice dripping with urgency, YouTube is more than just a video platform. It has layers you can't even begin to comprehend. Maya took a half step back, clenching Tyler's arm as if he were her anchor. Who are you? She demanded, forcing confidence into her wavering voice. The figure hesitated, glancing briefly at the blinking monitor before locking eyes with Maya. I was once like you, just a creator, out for success. But I uncovered something horrific, something that changes everything. Like what? Tyler interjected, pushing forward. If you know something, you need to tell us. We're all being watched, trapped in a digital cage. Resources, connections, influence, it's all controlled. They handpick the narrative, shape the story, and twist your reality. The figure paused, letting their words sink in, as clouds rumbled ominously outside. Controlled? By who? Maya's voice wavered. The emotional weight of her fears pressed heavy against her chest, but the lure of truth was even stronger. By the system, by people who manipulate content. They suppress what doesn't fit their agenda, and those who resist. The figure's voice dropped to a whisper, those who resist vanish. The air in the room felt electric. Maya's heart thudded violently, an unrelenting rhythm against the silence that enveloped them. What do you mean vanish? The figure took another step closer, and Maya noticed a distinctive scar across their hand, strikingly familiar. It was a mark she had seen in her research about discredited creators, those who mysteriously disappeared or were silenced. I can show you, they said intensely, but you have to trust me. This will change everything. Why should we trust you? Tyler challenged, his instincts kicking in. You could be leading us straight into a trap. I was sent here to warn you, the figure replied. Not everyone is as ignorant as you think. There are still people willing to fight back. You have a chance to make a difference before it's too late. Maya exchanged a glance with Tyler, her stomach churning. The clutter of thoughts felt almost overwhelming, but curiosity fluttered in her chest. What do we need to do? Gather evidence. Secrets buried deep within the algorithm. You have to document everything, make it public. Expose them. A loud bang rattled the studio, and the lights flickered again. Fear clenched their hearts. Had that sound come from the door? Time is running out. The figure shouted, urgency sharpening their tone. Once you post your findings, there will be no turning back. Are you ready to face this? Maya felt a knot of panic twist in her gut, but something in her stirred an instinct that screamed for the truth. She nodded, determination flooding through her. Yes, let us do it. But before the figure could respond, another loud noise echoed from behind. The door burst open, revealing a silhouette that eclipsed the dim light of the hallway. Stop right there. A deep voice commanded. Maya's heart dropped. Were they intruders? Were they about to get caught in a web far bigger than she had anticipated? In less than a heartbeat, the room was filled with confusion, shadows moving rapidly, tension crackling in the air. What would happen next? As the figure turned to confront the new threat, Maya's mind raced. Was this the end of her pursuit or just the beginning? The looming figure at the doorway was just a silhouette at first, but Maya's heart raced as the person stepped forward into the flickering light, revealing a uniform emblazoned with the word, security. The air felt heavy with dread. Who are you? Maya shouted, her voice trembling. The security guard didn't answer immediately. Instead, he scanned the room, a thick brow furrowing as his eyes settled on the shadowy figure that had drawn them all into this chaos. You need to leave. Now. His tone was cold, each word cutting through the tense atmosphere like a knife. The figure stepped between Maya and the guard, their posture fierce. You don't understand. They're about to enough, the guard interrupted, moving forward with a swift energy that made Maya flinch. Back away from the creators. You two, come with me. His gaze fell on Maya and Tyler, almost pleading. This is serious. They've been watching. You don't know what you're getting into. But we need to know. Tyler protested, looking between the figure and the guard, caught in a hard place. The security guard clenched his jaw. You think you're ready to face the system? They don't play fair. If you get in their way, there's no way you'll get out unscathed. His eyes twitched nervously back to the doorway, as if expecting reinforcements. Please. Maya cried, a wave of desperation crashing over her. Just tell us what's at stake. We need to know what they're hiding. With a resigned sigh, the guard's facade faltered for an instant. Every decision, every trend, every rise and fall, it's all orchestrated from above. They'll use you as pawns, and when you start to see too much, he let the sentence hang in the air, thick with unspoken threats, a silent warning. They're already on to you, the figure said urgently, glancing at the door again. You're in danger just by being here. You have to make your next move now. Without thinking, Maya took hold of Tyler's hand. We can't just run. If they're hiding something, we have to expose it. No. The guard yelled, his voice echoing through the studio. You can't. The more you fight against them, the worse it gets. I've seen it happen. Panic flooded Maya's senses. Outside, the winds howled as if mirroring the storm brewing in their small studio. Let her speak. The figure challenged the guard, their voice a sharp whip. You two deserve to know. If you want to fight, we can do this together, but you need to make a choice. Maya squeezed Tyler's hand, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on her. The choice ahead was monumental, fight for the truth or retreat to safety. Her heart screamed for courage. "Tell us everything," Maya said boldly. "We're in this now. We can't go back." Just as she spoke, a loud bang echoed from the hallway, the unmistakable sound of heavy boots approaching. The guard's expression shifted to one of pure fear. "You have to go. Now. They're here." The sinister reality crept over them. Time was slipping away, and every second felt like a ticking clock. The air was thick with uncertainty, and the shadows seemed to thicken with implications. Maya's breath hitched in her throat. She had wanted the truth, but at what cost? As the door rattled ominously, barely held shut, the figure turned to them and with urgency said, "If this goes south, remember, trust no one. Especially not the ones who claim to protect you." The door burst open fully, and a wave of chaos rushed in. Maya had no choice but to dive into the unknown. What awaited her on the other side? Would they find allies or face betrayal? The shadows receded, revealing their path, but left a chilling question hanging in the air: who could they trust in a world built on manipulation? Maya stumbled into the room's chaotic light just as the heavy boots thundered in. Her mind raced as a group of stern-faced officers poured in, their expressions unreadable but filled with a heavy weight of authority. The leader, eyes cold as steel, scanned the space, quickly landing on the security guard. "This is the one," the officer barked, pointing. "You know the drill, Collins. You've been warned." "Wait!" Maya shouted, feeling Tyler pull back slightly, his grip tightening around her wrist like a lifeline. "You can't just take him." The guard, Collins, cast a worried glance back at her. "Get out. Both of you." He yelled with an urgency that pushed against Maya's resolve. They wouldn't hesitate to apprehend anyone in the way. But before she could respond, the officer took a determined step forward. "You're obstructing a federal investigation. Move aside." The air thickened with tension. Maya's heart raced wildly, something terrible was unfolding. The imminent threat felt palpable, gripping her chest like a vice. "Who is in charge here?" the figure demanded, stepping forward with startling confidence. The officer sneered, his posture shifting defensively. The figure replied, "You don't want to mess with us. A full disclosure is on the table." "Enough." The officer lifted his hand and gave a signal, but Maya couldn't stand by. Her voice spilled out, desperate and trembling. "What is going on? What is this investigation about?" A flicker of surprise crossed the officer's face before his disdain returned. "You don't need to know. Get them out of here." Before anyone could react, the figure darted past Maya, rushing toward the lead officer. "You're hiding something. You can't silence the truth forever." The officer's response was quick and brutal. In an instant, he grabbed the figure by the collar, slamming them against the wall, a move that sent shockwaves through Maya. A flicker of fear crossed their eyes, but they didn't back down. "Let go of them!" Maya screamed, stepping forward, her heart pounding in her throat. "Enough!" The officer shouted again, this time eyes burning with rage. "This doesn't concern you?" With adrenaline surging through her veins, Maya grabbed Tyler's hand tighter and yelled, "We're not leaving. If there's a truth to uncover, then we're in this together." The guard's face paled further as though realizing the potential repercussions of Maya's defiance. "You don't understand," he murmured, anguish seeping through his voice. In that charged moment, the conflicting desires to flee and stand firm battled within Maya. Suddenly, the figure shot a glance at her, their eyes wide, pleading. "Maya, trust me. We can expose them, just stick with me." The officer released a sharp laugh, scanning the group with a look of pure superiority. "You're drawing lines you have no idea how to cross." Before Maya could process his words, the space vibrated with an unwelcome sound. Her heart sank as she heard distant sirens growing louder, melding with the chaos inside the studio. Time was slipping from her grasp. "What now?" Tyler exclaimed, pulling her back, but Maya stood and faced the officer, determination burning in her gut. "That's it," she insisted, her voice strong. "I won't let fear dictate who I am. Not today." But just as she edged forward, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket. She fished it out, and her eyes went wide. A message flashed across the screen, chilling her to the bone. "They know you're there. Get out. Now." The room erupted into chaos. Shouts echoed as the figures tensed. Maya's mind raced. Should she heed the warning or stand her ground? "Run!" the figure yelled, a flash of alarm racing across their features. Chaos erupted as the officials shifted focus. Just as sirens blared louder, Maya felt a surge of dread claw at her. The path ahead was veiled in darkness and uncertainty, yet there was a sliver of hope that flickered within her. "Stick to the truth," the figure urged once more. But could she discern the truth in the chaos? As she turned to follow the path of shadows, she could feel the weight of eyes watching her every move. Would they find safety, or would the very truth they sought unravel them completely? And just as they began moving, another loud crash echoed down the hall. The sounds of footsteps and shouting grew, echoing ominously towards them. What lay just around the corner? Maya's heart pounded as she and Tyler darted towards a narrow exit shrouded in shadows. The chaos around them morphed into a disorienting blur. Officers shouted, their commands sharp and slicing through the fray. The figure swept ahead, leading them deeper into the fray, their presence a flicker of reassurance amidst the turmoil. "Turn left." The figure barked, their voice cutting through the clamor. Maya obeyed, pulling Tyler along. Their feet pounded against the cold concrete floor, echoing like thunder. The sirens grew louder with each passing second, an impending dread unfurling in her chest. They rounded another corner and stumbled into a darkened corridor. An oppressive silence loomed, broken only by their heavy breathing and the distant commotion fading behind them. Maya turned to the figure, who looked as if the weight of the world rested on their shoulders. "Why are they after you? What are they hiding?" she demanded, her voice a mix of urgency and desperation. The figure hesitated, eyes darting around as if searching for invisible threats. "It's more than just me. They are covering up something massive. Something that can change everything if we don't get caught." Maya bit her lip, fear drenching her thoughts. Caught doing what? Before the figure could respond, a loud crash erupted from behind them, and the lights above flickered ominously. The sound of boots thundering their way sent another shiver racing down her spine. "Go! We have to move!" Tyler shouted, his fear igniting her courage. They sprinted forward, racing against time through the dimly lit hall. Maya felt her pulse thrumming in her ears, the fear of what lay ahead eclipsed only by the dread of being caught. Her heart was in her throat, the gravity of the moment weighing heavy. Suddenly, a door swung open to their right, and another officer emerged, face contorted with rage. "There they are!" he bellowed, just as Maya glanced back to see a surge of uniformed figures pouring into the corridor behind them. "Split!" the figure shouted, and in that moment, they veered left, pulling Maya and Tyler with them through a door that slammed shut just in time. They stumbled into a small office, papers and old computer equipment littering the floor. The figure pressed their back against the door, panting heavily. "We just bought ourselves a few seconds," they said, glancing around the room. "We need to find a way out of here and uncover the truth. Why didn't you say earlier it's bigger than just you?" Maya panted, adrenaline flooding her senses. "If they catch us, it won't end well." The figure's face was pale but resolute. "The officials aren't just trying to protect me, they're hiding something that threatens everything: the truth behind shady deals, cover-ups, and lives damaged." Tension crackled in the air. Maya and Tyler locked eyes, realizing their lives were about to change forever. "What do we do?" Tyler asked, desperation coating his words. The figure paused, weighing their options. "We've got to access the control room. It's where all the evidence is stored. If we can get that, we can expose them." Maya felt a rush of hope mixed with fear. But how? They'll be looking for us. An idea sparked in Tyler's eyes. What if we create a diversion while one of us goes for the files? Do it fast, because once we're seen, we'll become targets, the figure affirmed, determination flaring. You'll have to trust me. Maya felt the weight of the moment bear down on her but knew that trust was all they had. The sound of footsteps echoed outside again, loud and approaching. The urgency flickered, they had little time. Let us move, she whispered. Together. With a collective breath, they silently scoured the room for anything they could use, adrenaline coursing through them. The stakes couldn't have been higher as they prepared to face what lay ahead. Would they manage to find the evidence? Or would the looming threat finally catch up with them, silencing not just their voices, but the truth forever? Maya threw open a drawer, rummaging through a pile of disheveled papers, hoping for a miracle. Time seemed to ripple, each second stretching into an eternity. The muffled sounds from outside were drawing closer, a reminder that their reprieve was temporary. Here! Tyler shouted, holding up a thick stack of documents that appeared to be part of a larger file. His hands trembled slightly, but determination shone in his eyes. We might need these later. They could lead us to whatever they're hiding. Maya's gaze darted to the door, then back at him. You have to focus. We need a plan. Getting caught with those won't save us. The figure, still pressed against the door, glared at them. We can't stay here. We have to split. I'll create the diversion. Just go. Wait, no. Maya protested, clenching her fists. What if no time? With a sudden burst of energy, the figure twisted the handle and slid out into the dimly lit corridor, leaving the door ajar. Maya's heart dropped as she heard the stomping boots of approaching officers. We can't let them catch you. She yelled, but her voice faded into a frantic whisper. Just go. Find the control room. The figure shouted back, just before disappearing down the hall. Maya glanced at Tyler, who was already edging towards the door. We have to move. He urged, the urgency in his tone propelling her forward. They slipped through the door, heartbeats syncing with their quickened steps. The corridor felt like a labyrinth, twisting and turning, with shadows flickering against the walls. As they made their way through, the overhead lights flickered erratically, intensifying the panic gripping them. Left here. Tyler directed. They turned sharply, narrowly avoiding a patrol rounding the corner. Maya's breath caught in her throat, and she winced at the thought of being discovered. Did you hear that? Tyler whispered. Maya strained to hear, every sound amplified in her anxious mind. A crash echoed in the distance, followed by shouts, chaos spilling out around them. The diversion is working, she muttered, a fleeting sense of hope flooding her. They halted before a locked door labeled control room authorized personnel only. Maya's heart raced as she tugged at the handle, her palms slick with sweat. It's locked. How do we get it open? Tyler fished in the pocket of his jacket, fumbling to find anything that would help. There's got to be a way, he muttered under his breath. Maya pressed her ear against the cool surface of the door, desperation rising. If we can just get in, she whispered. All this madness will have a purpose. Suddenly, a flurry of footsteps approached from around the corner. They must be found the distraction. Tyler gasped. We need to hide. They dove behind an old cabinet filled with dusty files, hearts pounding in unison, the wood splitting into their skin. They watched as officers, faces grim and alert, hurried past the door. Maya locked eyes with Tyler, both wanting to scream but knowing silence was their only chance. When the officers finally passed, the tension released slightly. Now. Maya climbed to her feet, brushing dust off her jeans. She kicked the door as hard as she could. Please, come on. In a moment of instinct, Tyler pulled out a small crowbar he'd found earlier. Try this. He handed it to her just as a faint beep from a device echoed down the hall. Maya nodded, breathing heavily as she inserted the crowbar into the lock, twisting as she held her breath. It clicked, and the door swung open to reveal a dim, glowing room filled with screens and chaos of electric circuits. "Here it is," she breathed, stepping inside, but her relief was short-lived when a sudden shock of fear gripped her. Behind them, the alarm blared, cutting through their realization. "Run!" Tyler yelled, and they dashed into the control room, realizing they were running out of time. What they didn't know was that the figure's sacrifice was only the beginning of the chaos they'd soon face. And there was more to discover, things that could bring powerful men to their knees or seal their fate forever. Would they uncover the truth behind those deals before it was too late? Or would this place become their final resting heavy with secrets? Maya's heart raced as she and Tyler stepped into the control room, the deafening alarm reverberating in their ears. Rows of monitors flickered, casting a cold light over cluttered desks littered with wires and papers. Each screen displayed a different section of the facility, giving them glimpses of chaos. Officers were scrambling, breaking into rooms and shouting commands that echoed long beyond the walls. "Holy hell," Tyler whispered, eyes darting from one monitor to another. He reached for a clipboard, gathering scattered papers, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. Maya moved toward a monitor showcasing the entrance they had come from. An officer burst in, scanning the room with a flashlight. "They're here. Search the control room." He barked into his radio. "Get down." Maya hissed, yanking Tyler to the floor just as the officer's shadow loomed over them. They lay flat, hearts pounding, as powerful beams of light danced around the control room. Maya felt sweat trickle down her back, hyper-aware of every sound. She grasped Tyler's arm tightly, feeling the muscle tense under her grip. "What do we do?" Tyler whispered, trembling. "We can't just wait for them to find us," Maya thought quickly. They needed information, but the more vital issue was their survival. "We find out what they're hiding," she muttered, peeking up at the monitors again. There had to be something, a clue, a lead, anything that would give them an edge. One monitor caught her eye, displaying a list of names with statuses next to them. A bold red word flashed next to a few: compromised. "That's just a code. We need access to their files," Tyler said, calculus lighting up his features. But just then, Maya's gaze shifted across the room to the far corner, where a small hatch in the wall stood slightly ajar. "Tyler, the hatch." She pointed urgently. "That could be our way out." They crawled towards it, staying low to the ground, silent as shadows. As they reached the hatch, a sudden crash echoed outside. The officer had knocked over a desk in a frenzy, shouts amplifying, urgency peaking. "Clear," came the officer's voice, the solitary sound cutting through the din. They barely made it to the hatch before the door slammed open again, and more officers poured in. A rush of fear surged in Maya's chest when one caught sight of them. "Get down!" Tyler yelled, but it was too late. The officer shouted for backup, voice urgent and commanding. "Maya!" Tyler pulled her toward the hatch with ferocious energy. He managed to pry it open, and with a deep breath, she dove into the dark space beyond, Tyler right behind her. They landed on a narrow metal ladder, feet scrambling to find footing as they descended into the dark abyss. Maya's heart hammered in her chest as they reached the bottom, darkness swallowing them. The air was stale, the metallic scent of machinery lingering in it. "Now what?" Tyler gasped, trying to catch his breath. Maya cursed under her breath. "We can't go back. We need a plan, quick." The tension hovered thick as they glanced around, searching for any sign of where they'd come or where they could safely go next. Maya's mind raced with possibilities. "Wait," Tyler hissed, squinting down a corridor splitting into two. "Do you hear that?" Maya strained her ears. Faint sounds echoed, a hushed voice mixed with the hum of machinery. It was coming from the left. She nodded to Tyler, guiding them toward the whispers. As they approached cautiously, she felt a sinking dread wash over her. What were they about to uncover? Was it safe? But something told her that whatever they heard could be crucial to understanding the depths of the threat they faced. They crept closer, anxiety pooling like lead in her stomach. With every step, dread crept in, wrapping around her like an iron shroud. The moment they turned the corner, Maya froze. Tyler gasped next to her. Before them stood a figure encased in shadows, a hushed conversation unfolding in low tones. And then, to their shock, one of the figures turned, revealing a familiar face. Maya's throat tightened. The dread turned into icy certainty. "What the hell?" she murmured. Was it an ally or a traitor? And what were they plotting in this forsaken place? The truth was about to unravel, and it wouldn't be pretty. But in the depths of secrets, someone was waiting to make their move. Would they expose the truth in time, or would it be the end of everything they fought for? Maya's pulse raced as she stared at the familiar face. Her heart sank further as recognition washed over her like a cold wave. It was Jason, her former colleague, the one who had been buried under layers of loyalty and trust. The look in his eyes held an unreadable mix of apprehension and determination. "Maya." "Tyler," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, as if saying their names out loud would shatter the tenuous grip they all had on reality. "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" Maya shot back, fear mingling with anger. "Are you part of this? What is going on?" Jason's eyes darted up the corridor, a flicker of panic flashing across his face. "It's not what you think. I'm trying to help, but you need to listen to me carefully. There isn't much time." Tyler shifted beside Maya, a protective stance forming as he took a step forward. "If you're here for anything other than to help us, I swear stop." Jason interjected, raising his hands in surrender. "I'm on your side. They're planning something huge, and I can't let you get caught in the crossfire." Maya's stomach churned. "Why should we trust you?" A heavy pause filled the air. Jason took a deep breath, looking both resolute and scared. "Because I know what's really happening here. They are experimenting with something dangerous. It's bigger than you know." "Experimenting?" Tyler echoed, confusion etching lines on his forehead. "What are you talking about?" Maya could feel Jason's urgency, but the fear of betrayal loomed larger. The atmosphere around them thickened as the tension reached a boiling point. She needed answers fast. "Look," Jason continued, his voice thick with desperation. "They've compromised the security protocols. People are disappearing. Real human lives are at stake." Maya felt her breath hitch. "What do you mean disappearing?" "They've been extracting information from subjects without consent. They're testing something that manipulates memories." He glanced over his shoulder, fear creeping into his voice. "I thought I could stop it, but they found out I knew too much. That's why I'm hiding." Maya's thoughts spiraled. Memories, manipulations. What did this mean? Was everyone they knew at risk? Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed through the corridor. Heavy footsteps approached fast, illuminated by stark fluorescent lights that flashed like sirens in their minds. "They're coming," Jason hissed, urgency flooding his voice. "We need to move. Now." Without thinking, Maya grabbed Tyler's wrist, adrenaline surging through her veins. "Where do we go?" "Follow me." Jason surged ahead, leading them down the dimly lit corridor, panic driving every movement. They maneuvered past pipes that dripped with condensation, the claustrophobic darkness pressing in on them from every angle. The sound of shouts and commotion grew closer. Maya felt a sense of dread wash over her. What would they find? Or rather, what would they have to leave behind? "Stop!" A voice called from behind them, commanding and authoritative. The sound of footsteps quickened, and Maya's stomach dropped. "Over here!" Jason shouted, diverting them down a side passage. The rush of urgency throbbed in her ears as they sprinted deeper into the facility's maze. With each bend, each corner, Maya felt the walls closing in. The gnawing fear of being trapped consumed her. Was following Jason the right choice, or had they just exchanged one danger for another? As they turned another corner, Maya felt a sharp pain in her chest. Time was running out. Would they be found before they could uncover the truth? But an even darker question loomed: what else had Jason kept hidden? What secrets lay beneath the surface of this terrifying situation? Then, through the haze of panic, a single thought pierced her mind: the real danger may not be behind them, but right here in front of them. The next turn was looming ahead, and there was no telling what awaited them. Would they emerge unscathed, or was this the final trap? Maya sprinted down the dim corridor, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The urgency of the moment pressed down on her. They needed answers, needed to escape, and yet all she could think about was the looming threat close behind. Jason led the way, urgency in every step, glancing back every few seconds as if the walls themselves could reach out and snatch them. "Where are we going?" Tyler managed to ask between labored breaths, desperation lacing his voice. "The archives," Jason shouted over his shoulder. "All the confidential files are there. If we can get them, we might be able to expose everything." Maya nodded, knowing this was their best chance. The air grew heavier, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead as they rounded another corner. The shadows flickered, making her feel like they were being chased not just by officers but by something much darker, an invisible force that thrived on their fear. Suddenly, Jason skidded to a halt, eyes widening. "This way." He pointed toward a rusted door marked with bright yellow tape that read "Authorized personnel only." Maya felt a surge of adrenaline. This was at the last chance to uncover the truth and perhaps find a way out of the nightmare. But as Jason opened the door, a piercing alarm screeched through the hallways, sending her heart into overdrive. "Go! Go!" Jason urged, pushing them through the door. Inside, the room was a chaotic storm of computers and files, cables snaking across the floor like scared serpents. "Quick!" Tyler called, panic simmering in his voice. "What do we look for?" "Anything. Codes, names, meeting notes, whatever proves they're involved in this manipulation." Maya's instincts kicked in, and she quickly began rifling through the scattered papers. As she scanned the clutter, her eye caught a faded document. It bore the logo of YouTube and read, "Project Influence, Behavioral Analysis and Control." Her breath hitched. The implications were staggering. She stuffed the document into her pocket, driven by the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Beside her, Tyler found a USB drive and plugged it into one of the computers, frantically saving any files they could find. The clock was ticking, and each second felt like a countdown to disaster. Suddenly, footsteps grew louder in the hallway outside. The officers were closing in. "Almost done," Tyler shouted, sweat beading on his forehead as he clicked through folders with lightning speed. Then, just as he finished saving everything, the door rattled violently. Maya's heart sank. They had to act. "Hide," she hissed, pushing them toward a file cabinet that would provide some cover. They crouched low, breaths trapped in their chests as the door flew open. A group of officers stormed in, weapons drawn, voices raised in chaos. Maya prayed they wouldn't check inside the cabinet. "Split up, secure the area," one officer commanded. "They can't be far." Maya's mind raced. They needed an escape route now. "Follow my lead," Jason whispered, his eyes locking with hers. "When I give the signal, we move." Each tense moment felt like an eternity as the officers searched the room. Just when it seemed like they would be discovered, Jason nodded, and they bolted towards another exit at the far end. They could hear the chaos erupting behind them, the officers realizing they were gone now. There was no turning back. "Left!" Tyler yelled as they veered out of the room. Maya's heart raced faster than her feet could carry her. They pushed through the narrow hallways, emerging into a wider corridor filled with flashing lights. "Get to the stairs!" Jason shouted, urgency spilling from his voice. They could hear shouts behind them, tracks of heavy boots pounding through the narrow hall, hot on their trail. Fighting for every breath, Maya's chest felt tight as they ascended the stairwell, the racing descent becoming a chaotic ascent toward freedom. Burst of adrenaline drove them onward until they reached a door that led to the roof. The night air washed over her, cool and refreshing, but the chase was far from over. Spread out. The officers were close. Jason gestured to the far side of the roof, where a rusted fire escape dangled precariously. Maya's heart soared, hope flickered in her chest as they sprinted towards it. Climb down. Now. Tyler urged, pushing Jason ahead. They didn't look back. As they descended, Maya caught a glimpse of the city skyline, lights glimmering like stars fallen to earth. For a moment, she felt weightless. They were so close, but reality struck when she heard the thud of footsteps behind them, the sharp commands echoing across the roof. Stop. Don't move. Maya's heart sank. They're here. Panic surged again as she scrambled down. Just then, she heard a loud crash behind her as if the officers had burst through the door. Tyler's breath quickened as he let out a desperate shout, "We can't stop. Keep going." They reached the bottom, breathless and terrified, racing toward the nearest alley. The shadows began to cling to their sides like thick fog as they emerged into the street. "Where do we go?" Jason asked, desperation slicing through his voice. "Anywhere but here," Maya gasped, sensing the fear vibrating through Tyler as they dashed through the narrow space filled with towering buildings. "We need to figure out our next step." Suddenly, Maya's phone buzzed with an alert, a message flashing that made her heart drop. "You're in danger. Move fast. Trust no one." With renewed urgency, they ducked into the nearest cafe, trying to catch their breath and think. Adrenaline surged, keeping fear at bay for now. "Okay, we have what we need, right?" Maya whispered, her focus sharpening. "We have to figure out how to release this information. The world needs to know what is happening." Tyler raked his hands through his hair, his face pale but determined. "But how? They're watching us closely." Maya's heart thumped. She felt it deep in her bones. They had taken a giant step down a dangerous path, one where there was no turning back. Yet a spark of resilience ignited in her. "We can't run forever. Maybe we can find supporters, creators who understand the truth. Like your followers?" Tyler suggested, determination flickering in his eyes. "Yes. They'll help us expose the lies. Together, we can fight back." Maya felt a fire build inside her, a belief that they weren't alone. Wherever this journey led them next, they would face it together. With rekindled hope, they stepped out of the cafe, ready to embrace the battles ahead. The world outside teemed with danger, but it also held an undeniable charge of possibility. And with each step toward unveiling the truth, they felt more alive, determined to overcome. In unity, they were stronger, fighting against the shadows that shrouded the world. Together, they would unleash the truth and shine a spotlight on what was hidden. The future seemed daunting, but Maya gripped Tyler's hand tighter. It was time to reclaim their voices and stand against the darkness bred by secrets and lies. "Let us move," she said, a fire igniting in her voice. Together, Tyler affirmed with a nod, determination flashing in his eyes, and with that, they stepped out into the unknown, ready to face whatever came next. Their story was just beginning, after all, and the truth was worth fighting for. Now, as you've reached this hair-raising finale, it's time to get involved. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next chapter of this wild ride. Every bit of your support counts, so smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. And please, flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what just unfolded. We want to hear your thoughts. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this conclusion. It's time to rally everyone behind the truth. Let's do this together.